any other time other than your supervised mandatory recreation call is in violation of this facility and subject to being detained in prevention of injury status.
Item all up. Come on, fire. Hey, Roger. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. Two things. We need to move time now. Alright, we just engaged all 8 individuals. We're not too aware. We're still firing. Roger.
So let's be clear. This disclosure is not just an attack on America's foreign policy interests. It is an attack on the international community, the alliances and partnerships, the conversations and negotiations that safeguard global security and advance economic prosperity.
We won't shoot anymore.
I would also add that to the American people and to our friends and partners, I want you to know that we are taking aggressive steps to hold responsible those who stole this information.
Yes, absolutely right. So 208 for so full. We go frequency. Yeah, just drove over a body. Yeah. Number 5043 change on 4. Maybe it's a visual.
We don't individually make our own decisions about how the law is operated. He broke the law. You can make it harder to break the law. What he did was he done it. No, it wasn't the same.
Oh, yeah, look at that right through the windshield. Alright, second stage, I'm coming about 12 to 15.
Approach the door, prisoner. Can you explain to me what happened today in recreation call? Permission to address Chief Warrant Officer. Aye. Well, Sergeant, I was just trying to follow... I'm the commander. Aye. Why are you violating my trust? Sir, Why do you want to cause so much trouble? Sir, I don't know. I don't want to cause... I'm not trying to cause any situations or anything like that. I apologize for any confusion. I need to take away your recreation call. Sir, I've been a model detainee at this facility for 6 months. My psychiatrist, Captain Hoxter and Captain Malone, have recommended that I be removed for prevention of injury status. My counselor, Gunnery Sergeant Venice, has consistently given me a very high rating and says he wishes he had 100 detainee Mannings.
I am the commander. I'm the one giving orders. No one here tells me what to do. I am, for all practical purposes, God.
Please stop yelling at me. You still have to follow bridge procedures. Everyone has a boss they have to answer to.
Permission to address CW04 is revoked. Special suicide rate.
I don't believe in good guys versus bad guys anymore. I only see a plethora of states acting in self-interest, with varying ethics and moral standards, of course, but self-interest nonetheless. I mean, we're better in some respects. We're much more subtle, use a lot more words and legal techniques to legitimize everything. It's better than disappearing in the middle of the night. But just because something is more subtle doesn't mean it's right. I guess I'm too idealistic.
You are classified at suicide risk status because you are a danger to yourself and to others. It is my duty to ensure your safety. Prisoner, confirm your well-being.
Aye, sir! I think the thing that got me the most, that made me rethink the world more than anything, was watching 15 detainees taken by the Iraqi Federal Police for printing anti-Iraqi literature. The Iraqi Federal Police wouldn't cooperate with U.S. forces, so I was instructed to investigate the matter, find out who the bad guys were, and figure out how significant it was for the FPs. It turned out they had printed a scholarly critique against Prime Minister Maliki. I had an interpreter read it for me, and when I found out that it was a benign political critique titled, "Where Did the Money Go?" and following the corruption trail within the Prime Minister's cabinet, I immediately took that information and ran to the officer to explain what was going on. He didn't want to hear any of it. He told me to shut up and explain how I could assist the FPs in finding more detainees. Everything started slipping after that. I saw things differently. I had always questioned the way things worked and investigated to find the truth. But that was a point where I was a part of something. I was actively involved in something that I was completely against. But I was a part of it. And completely helpless.
Sometimes we're all helpless.
The collateral murder video came from a server in our domain and not a single person noticed. Apache Weapons Team video of 12th July 07 airstrike on routers, journalists, some sketchy but fairly normal street folk, and civilians.
I'd be one paranoid boy in your shoes.
I'm not so paranoid. I've seen the way the system works. I just couldn't let these things stay inside of the system, inside of my head. I recognized the value of some things, knew what they meant, dug deeper. I watched that video cold, for instance. At first glance, it was just a bunch of guys getting shot by a helicopter. No big deal, about 24 more where that came from, right? But something struck me as odd with the van thing, and the fact it was being stored in a Judge Advocate General Officer's directory. So I looked into it, tracked down the date, the exact GPS cord, and I was like, okay, so that's what happened. Cool. Then I went to the regular internet, and it was still on my mind, so I typed into Google the date and the location, and then I see this.
There is no question that coalition forces were clearly engaged in combat operations against a hostile force,
said Lieutenant Colonel Scott Blithewell, a spokesman for the multinational forces in Baghdad.
I kept that in my mind for weeks. Probably a month and a half before I forwarded it to them. It was unreal. I mean, I've identified bodies before. It's rare to do so, but usually it's just some nobody. It dehumanized the whole thing, resensitized me. separate myself from others. I feel connected to everybody like we're distant family. I care. This sums it up for me.
Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. I get that.
Probably shouldn't have read Sagan, Feynman, and so many intellectual authors last summer. Get what? The connection?
Yeah, which is why I'm sad for the people I sometimes have to hurt.
We're human. And we're killing ourselves, and no one seems to see that, and it bothers me. Apathy. Apathy is far worse than the active participation. Hug. I prefer the painful truth over any blissful fantasy.
Prisoners, you are classified as suicide risk status because you are a danger to yourself and to others. It is my duty to confirm your safety, confirm your well-being.
Aye, sir. I'm not brave. I'm weak.
Sometimes they're the same thing.
I'm not so much scared of getting caught and facing consequences at this point as I am of being misunderstood and never having the chance to live the life I wanted to.
It's important that it gets out. And I feel for some bizarre reason that it might actually change something.
If you saw incredible things, awful things, things that belonged in the public domain, and not on some server stored in a dark room in Washington, D.C., what would you do?
Because public data belongs in the public domain. Information should be free.
God knows what happens now. Hopefully worldwide discussions, debates, and reforms. If not, then we're doomed.
Your Honor, I wrote this statement in the confinement facility.
The statement in confinement facility. I also with the hope of obtaining both real-world experience and earning benefits under the GI Bill for college opportunities. At that time, I believed and still believe that these tables are two of the most significant documents of our time. I thought we were risking so much for people who seemed unwilling to cooperate with us, leading to frustration and hatred on both sides. I began to become depressed with the situation that we found ourselves increasingly mired year after year. I believe that if the general public, especially the American public, had access to the information contained within the Sydney ICA papers, this could spark a domestic debate on the role of the military and our foreign policy in general, as well as related to Iraq and Afghanistan. I want the American public to know that not everyone in Iraq and Afghanistan were targets that needed to be neutralized around the people who were struggling to live in the special footprint environment of what we call asymmetric warfare. No one associated with the WO pressured me into giving more information. It is simply that I made send documents and information to the WO and website for my own decisions and take full responsibility and